first team squad, though we can't rule that out, but it is to use the facilities and use the medical facilities and any remote facilities that they have that all the squad would be able to enjoy anyway. But as it stands, those 5 players, Rashford, Sancho, Garnacho, Anthony, Malacia, have all made it clear to Manchester United of their wish and their desire to leave Old Trafford.
And the interesting one as well, you know when your futures might be not at the club you're at, is when your number is taken away. What we also found out this afternoon, Matheus Cunha will now have that number 10 shirt, the famous Manchester United number 10 shirt, which Marcus Rashford has had since 2018. Now, Cunha was done so earlier, you forget what potentially a huge signing this could be for Manchester United, and it looks like he will wear that number 10 shirt, and we are told that Rashford was told about this earlier this summer.
OK, so Darish, let's just go through the 5 players in order and where you think they might end up or what their plans might be. And let's start with the ex-number 10, Marcus Rashford.
Yeah, the ex-number 10 is incredible, isn't it? Michael is so right when he says that nothing says that you're not belong a part of the club's plans, then, yep, there's your number. You're not having it anymore. There's your number 10 gone. So Marcus Rashford, we know, spent the second half of last season on loan at Aston Villa, returned to United after both he and Villa didn't take up that £40 million option to make that deal a permanent one. There haven't been any formal offers as yet, we understand, for Marcus Rashford to Manchester United, but we have heard about his desire to join one particular club, and that particular club is Barcelona. He would love to go to Barcelona. Rashford wants Champions League football next season. Whether he were to get that move to Barcelona, we know that they've got a few financial issues when they try and get deals over the line. That's another matter. But as far as if he had his wish, he would like to go to Barcelona for next season.
And would United take another loan deal, do you think?
Look, the ideal scenario for all 5 of these players is for Manchester United to get permanent deals done for them, because the way we're looking at their window at the moment is that they had a budget to bring in the likes of Matheus Cunha, and I'm sure Michael will talk about Brian Mbeumo in a moment. Thereafter, they do still want to strengthen that squad, but it's felt that to really go big again in the transfer window, they would need to make sales. We do know that it's much publicised, the financial issues that Manchester United have got. If they were to sell all 5 of these players, you would expect Manchester United to be able to get between 125 to 150 million pounds.
Not if people know there's a fire sale.
But also, it's easier said than done trying to get permanent deals done because, and we mentioned Rashford in particular, his wages are really high. So would Manchester United have to entertain another loan move for Marcus Rashford and then maybe contribute to Marcus Rashford's wages for wherever he goes? Not an ideal scenario. They do want to do permanent deals for these players, but if there's a situation where they can get 2 out or 3 out of the door on permanent deals, there's still that option that a loan deal could be done for 1 or 2 of the others. OK,
so Jadon Sancho, another one. Chelsea didn't take up the option to take him.
Yeah, I mean, talks are ongoing between Juventus and Manchester United over the signing of that man there, Jadon Sancho. Discussions also continue with Sancho's representatives over personal terms. We mentioned Marcus Rashford on big wages, Jadon Sancho on big wages as well. Now, why are Juventus exploring a deal for Jadon Sancho? Well, one of the big reasons is they haven't been able to secure a permanent deal for Francisco Conceição. They had him on loan from Porto for the entire season last season, but it was a straight season-long loan. Now, at the end of the season, there's a release clause in Conceição's contract, which is €30 million. But Porto want that paid in one big lump sum. Juventus are trying to negotiate on that release clause. Porto aren't budging at the moment. That's why they focused a little bit of their attention now to Jadon Sancho, because we think the asking price is around £25 million, but it's not a release clause. It's just basically what Manchester United would want for Jadon Sancho. And if you have a price, for example, of £25 million, number one, you can negotiate on that price. And number two, you can maybe negotiate on the structure of that deal as well, so you don't have to pay a massive lump sum straight away. So hence why Juventus are probably having a look at Jadon Sancho, because the Conceição one is so up in the air just now.
OK, or just to make Porto worry about losing the sale.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes clubs do that, don't they? They like to send a message by saying, well, we're after Jadon Sancho because you're
Man United star admits shock at brutal Amorim transfer. Manchester United defender Patrick Dorgu has admitted that Rasmus Højlund's move to Napoli came as a big shock to him. The Denmark international had to watch on this summer as his compatriot was forced out of Old Trafford in quite a ruthless fashion. Deemed surplus to requirements after the arrival of Benjamin Sesko, Højlund was no longer considered for selection by Ruben Amorim. After spending more than €200 million on new attackers, Man United needed to raise funds and decided to offload the 22-year-old. Højlund rejected a move to AC Milan, but eventually returned to Italy after all with Napoli. The reigning Serie A champions signed the striker for an initial €6 million loan fee, and his move will become permanent for €44 million if they qualify for the Champions League. Speaking to Extra Bladed, Dorgu has now revealed that Højlund's axing by Man United came as a big shock to him, as he did not expect the forward to depart the club this summer. Højlund's move, a big shock. The two former teammates are currently away on international duty with Denmark. Højlund came on as a substitute against Scotland on Friday, but was unable to help his side muster more than a scoreless draw in what was his first competitive appearance of the season. Meanwhile, another ex-Man United star, Christian Eriksen, was not called up for his country as he remains a free agent following his release by the Red Devils earlier this summer. Dorgu was quizzed about Eriksen and Højlund and admitted that the latter's departure was much more of a surprise than the former's. "That's how it is in football," the defender began. "You never know when it's your turn to move on. We knew it would happen to Christian, but it was perhaps a bigger shock that Rasmus had to move on. I talked to him a lot during the process and could sense which way it was going. Hopefully we will now see each other every time on the national team." Man United target's brother confirms reason behind failed summer transfer. The brother of Argentine international Emiliano Martinez has confirmed why Aston Villa goalkeeper failed to join Manchester United this summer. Martinez, 33, was heavily linked with a move to Old Trafford throughout the summer transfer window, and he even agreed personal terms with Ruben Amorim's side in late August. However, the proposed deal fell through, and the Argentine star is now expected to remain at Aston Villa until at least 2026 after rejecting the chance to join Galatasaray. During an interview with D Sports, Martinez's brother Alejandro revealed the true reason behind the failed transfer. "I was told that Emi gave a lot as a professional and as a person. They love him, and you could see that on the pitch. He's well liked, and the directors didn't want to sell him because he's the key player in the team. And another team wanted him. It was that commercial dispute. These are decisions made by club officials. It didn't happen, but it's like everything else in business. The sporting side of things was left out of it, and everything is fine. Emi never had an argument with Unai. It was all within the management's control, and the clubs couldn't agree. At Aston Villa, he's the Diego of Napoli. He gave a lot at Aston Villa, like Koen did at City, like Leo did at Barca. They're legendary players, and it's going to be hard to surpass what he did at Aston Villa." Man United signed new goalkeeper. Although Man United failed to sign Martinez this summer, they did manage to strengthen their goalkeeper roster with the addition of Royal Antwerp's Cindy Lemons on transfer deadline day. The 23-year-old kept 10 clean sheets in 44 appearances across all competitions last season, and he's expected to usurp Alte Bander and Andre Onana as Amorim's first choice once he settles in at Old Trafford. Onana, meanwhile, has been linked to a move to the Saudi Pro League, with several clubs eyeing a possible deal before the transfer window closes on September 23rd.